All right, so we have our star here today, Jack.
Jack.
And then we can't forget our co-star over here, the Jesus Broom.
Man.
Oh, and then there's this guy,
Man.
Wheels.
Yeah.
Too late now.
Wheels is here. We have two different lights that we're installing today. The replacement LED version of the fog light and the LED version of the dome lights. Now, with the standard headlights, you are not to touch the glass because then the oils from your fingers will shorten the life of the. I don't know if the same thing applies to these LED versions. I seriously doubt it, but it's always a good idea not to touch them.
All right, so squeeze the top and bottom tabs of the bulb housing. Squeeze both top and bottom, and it pulls right out. Then on the bulb itself, there is one tab. Pull or squeeze that downward, and that just separates it. So now we'll show you the tabs that are on here are different and better locking capability than the LED Chinese knockoff shit that they're sending us. We'll see if this one locks in better, because this one wasn't broken by the ham-fisted guy that removed the other one. Yes, he fisted it. And I gotta watch out for this fucking skid plate again. I'm not gonna bang my head. Alright, so you do the opposite. A lot of people like to put the connector on right away and then try and put it in there. That just creates drama. So all you need to do then is just... this thing has to line up exactly. And remember, do not force this thing because you will fuck up the LED thing and it won't work at all then. And just gently keep trying to push inward. Once that it gets to a certain point, then it will be able to go in. And what's the line? Is that what he said? I think it was, right? It's what he said.
No. That's what she said.
That's what she said. Now the thing was too is that the bulb had more than enough clearance to go in and out of the housing, no problem. Whereas this thing is super crazy tight. Well, that too. There, finally. And like I say, you know, this could be a very easy thing to destroy, trying to ram that thing in there. And you'll mess it up then for the standard bulb as well, likely, because that seemed to seat in there in one particular way as well, because it's ribbed and all that kind of thing. So I would not force this thing in there. And the problem too is that these little locking tabs that I'd shown at the beginning of the damn thing doesn't want to snap on there properly. So my thing is that this gets a D for install. So now we'll test it and we'll see if it works again.
There we go. There's the blue. They look like bullshit. Hey, Wheels, you picked out the wrong color blue. It's your fault. All right, cut. We're gonna have to reorder the supplies and redo the shot. All right, so the LED fog lights that we just installed a few days ago, the blue ones looked like utter crap. Like the color was just too far off. You don't like purple?
Hell no.
What? What's wrong with purple? It's got to be like the manliest color ever. Come on, man. It's got to be perfect.
Hey, get it right. It's hot pink.
Oh, hot pink. All right, all right. So what we did is we got hot pink. I'm just kidding. These are white. These are white fog lamps that we're going to go ahead and throw in. It should be more in keeping with the rest of the lights that we put in this vehicle. As with most LED lights, it should have like the slight bluish tinge. I'm hoping to be pleased with how these turn out. Alas, Jesus' broom has been crucified. The wind decided to take matters into its own hands, and our co-star has sadly passed. Let's take a moment of silence. Shut up! I'm having a moment of silence over here! You better be sorry. Shut up! Alright, back to our project. Alright, I'm going to show you the difference between the two LED bulbs that we got. Or lights, they're not actually bulbs. The one on the right here are the blue ones that we had installed. And the configuration on top here was so massive and big that it barely fit in there, and those tabs wouldn't seat properly. And so what happened is it fell out and caused the whole entire unit to fail. This one was much smaller and easier to get in there, and was able to pop it right in. And so I'm hoping that we don't run into issues with this second set that we got. We got the other unit installed on the passenger side, so let me grab the keys and we'll throw it on real quick and see what it looks like. Alright, so on the left side we have Awesome, and on the right side we have something that my wife would drive. Alright, so we'll get the other one installed. So that one popped out. I had a little trouble getting this one out. Much easier time getting those smaller LED units in. And so that one's intact. That one was actually seated properly, so didn't have any issues with it falling out. So we're gonna go ahead and throw it on and see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks gorgeous with the headlights on, and then you got the fog lights on underneath that. It's clear. It looks amazing.
So like a Kit Kat, these break off in pieces, supposedly. We have never done this before, so we're going to go, fuck! Or it's going to be okay. One of the two. Alright. Here's one. So far, so good. Second one. That's much harder to do this time. There's the second one.
Those are white.
These,
not blue.
good. So they won't be as, what did you call it, rice as the fog lights?
Fucking damn disappointed.
Okay, so there's actually 8 LEDs in comparison to 1 filament.
Alright, so that's on right now. And that's what they look like. So, I mean, they definitely illuminate the cab. But we're hoping to get a little better illumination with the LEDs.
In the fluorescent world, this is known as warm white. Now what we're going to change it to with the LED will be cool white. Warm whites always have sort of a yellowish tinge to it. It's not as much glare. Whereas in offices and so on, that's where these are usually utilized. They claim not to be as dramatic on your eyes.
Bullshit.
Exactly. So and then most of us opt for cool whites, especially in shop settings, because we want as much light as need be, and it still doesn't create a shadow.
I'm not sure why you went the hard way.
Well, because I didn't want to go around. All right, now they have these little notches that are here as pry points to get the lens off.
There.
Here and here. And these are actually tabs that go inside the plastic piece here. So the idea is to find something that's going to fit in here that's not going to pry out or damage while you're trying to pry out on it. And it's difficult.
So a screwdriver?
Easy on your launch with a screwdriver.
The better one is a screwdriver flat blade only. That would be for like eyeglasses, would be an ideal one. Put a piece of tape around it. It can be scotch tape or masking tape, whatever, as long as you protect it so that when you go in, you're not going to scratch it. And then the second thing then, of course, is that when you're prying on the damn thing, don't pry super hard because that will crack the lens and then you're out. I'm sure those bitches charge you $50 for this piece since it's a late model.
No, they sell you the whole assembly. They won't give you the...
That's right. Now, the comedy thing is that you let this thing stay on for a good 20 minutes, okay? And then hurry up and undo it and grab it here, and then you'll feel the nice burn, especially on your fingertips.
So I easily pulled that one out after licking my fingers a couple times so I don't burn them because they're still pretty hot even after I turned it off.
And just simply, what I like to do with this type of thing though, on older stuff, if you're replacing this, when it's up inside the holder like that, what you want to do is turn it a little bit. See if it will turn. If it doesn't, then you might risk breaking this bulb. So a lot of times what I use is a plastic pry tool that you use to take off pieces in the interior. And that way you don't risk having the shards of glass impregnating your fingers because this thing will break. Alright, we'll put in the LED version and we'll see what happens. The length is pretty close, but as you see, the diameters of the ends of the thing are a little different.
She said.
That's what. If you say that's what she said one more time, I'm gonna pop you.
So we'll see if it still holds it in place. Now, as we found out with the fog lights, the retaining system kind of sucked because of its smaller configurations again. So we'll see. What I'm gonna do is just try to put it. Well, it seems to be holding it fairly well. So I think that will be okay.
We should throw it on real quick just to make sure that it's in the correct direction. That is...
It is in the wrong configuration, isn't it?
Yep.
Now, I can easily see somebody snapping the card in half, trying to pry that thing out. So always be gentle with these things. All right, so we know now what our polarity is. With the shadow here, it's kind of difficult to see. I'll try it one more time. There goes my money. He is on. There it is. All right, so.
Wow, that is one bright mother.
All right, and now we will put the next one in. That is the easy way to check, is to see which polarity you're going to have is by having it on. There you go. I'm sure people will be like, don't be a pussy, you can install it with the fucking thing on. Yeah, I always like doing that. So now remember, these notches here, you know, they gotta fit in there. And then try and snap it into place, like that. See how it works?
I see how it works.
So the long tabs first, then snap in there. Don't do the opposite. You'll be breaking these tabs off, then you gotta replace this assembly. That's right, they don't sell the lens separately. So, there you go.
So that's what the front set looks like. And then if you look at this one, that is a considerable difference.
All right, so again, we'll look for
This one has them on this side instead of on the front and back. Now remember, you want to turn that shit off because when you grab it, then you're going to find out just how hot these little bitches get. So this one has a great big slot on one end and then two smaller ones on this end. So we'll see if a dime works on this. It does. Isn't that fucking amazing? Alright, well I guess you can leave it like that. It makes it very difficult to work with. Hey, I didn't tell you to turn on. Well, it seems to be hinged. So we're just gonna leave it like that. Then again, look at that shit. Quality GM product. So what I like to do again is spread these a little bit, making it easier for that thing to come out. So they're held in pretty tight. So I turned it on to see if the polarity is correct. Of course it's not. So turn it around. You know, it's the same way with zip ties. When you're trying to install a zip tie, you put it through the hole, right? The fucking thing is never in the right configuration so that you can put the end into the tab to lock it in place. It's always opposite. The same shit goes on here. Let's see. Is it right? Of course not.
It's like a flash drive.
And you got a 50-50 shot for fuck's sake. And here both of them didn't do it.
Right, Clark?
Yeah, it's like a flash drive where you can never get the thing into the USB slot until you actually look at what orientation it's supposed to be.
Ah,
Neither orientation is correct until you actually take a look for yourself to get it lined up.
all right, now I can also see somebody trying to ram this bitch home. Always try to be gentle with this cheap ass plastic shit.
Remember, repair work is not like sex. So it's very well lit in here now compared to what it was before.
That is a dramatic difference. Shit.
Extremely.
Yeah, they're like $3.
Yeah, that's cheaper than the fucking regular bulb, you know.
So there it is, it's all done. Finally got a chance to take a look at what it looks like at night. We've got the xenon bulbs for the low and high beams for the headlights. Currently it's the low beams that are on. The fog lights, which are LEDs, actually turn off when you turn on the high beams. So this is probably the best configuration to show off what it looks like. The headlights actually have a bluish tinge to these xenon bulbs, and the LEDs, because they're so white, also kind of cast a bluish hue as well. But you can just see how well it illuminates by looking out in front of the vehicle. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. Alright, the other thing I'm going to show you is the interior lights. This is what it's like when it's getting dark out. Throw those on real quick. You can see how bright it gets here in a real big hurry. And just everything. If you look at like the dashboard or a steering wheel, a pants, console, like anything you would want to need to get access to is supremely lit up. So once again, with these LEDs inside the vehicle and outside the vehicle, you can see how well that's illuminated out there. I'm extremely pleased at how they turned out.